welcome back to my channel. I know it's been 9 months. I'm so sorry. Life happened. But we're back, okay? And we have a special guest, my bestie, my sister from another mister.
Hey guys, my name is Mary Jai, aka Jaha Jai, and I have a YouTube channel as well.
Yes.
So if you want, you could follow me on that platform.
And I will put her channel in the description box below.
Yes.
And so today we're bringing you some tea. So make sure you get your cup of tea, juice, drink, whatever.
Please.
And just sit down and enjoy.
Do enjoyment.
So we're gonna do a 2-part talk about our experience growing up African, and then we're also gonna talk about other things that support that. So
I'll go ahead and introduce myself and give you guys a bit about my background. So like I said in the beginning, my name is Mary. Both of my parents are Gambian, from the Gambia in West Africa. And I was born in Georgia, raised in Georgia, went to school in Georgia, did everything in Georgia basically. I grew up in an all-black neighborhood, like elementary, middle, and high school. And growing up, I more often than not got teased for being African, and it was something that I personally could not escape because it's a part of my identity. So growing up, it was rough because being African wasn't as cool as it is in today's society. Everybody really had a horrible understanding of what it meant to be African because of how the media portrayed it. Like, you know, Africans living in huts, being with animals, being poor, being dirty, being this, being that. All these very negative connotations to being African. So when people would see me in school, they were like, oh my god, you're African, like you're nasty, you're dirty, you're stinky. All of that really negative stuff. And it was hard. I'm not gonna lie, like it was really hard growing up. I was really frustrated. But it's also something that I never strayed away from. I couldn't stray away from it because, like I said, it's a part of who I am. It's a part of my identity. So I would just tell people, or try to tell people, let people know that I'm Gambian. It's in West Africa. You know, if people are actually willing to listen, because a lot of times they were closed off to the idea of even hearing me out. So I would try to explain that, but it was really hard. And a lot of times people would just kind of judge me based off of how I looked, and not even, you know, anything else. Literally just based off of how I looked. Sometimes they didn't think I know how to speak English. Like they'll look at me and they'll just assume that I didn't know how to speak English. And then when I start speaking English, they're like, oh, you speak English so well, like where are you from? And I'm like, Georgia. Like, what do you mean? So I would have to explain, and they'll be like, where are you really from? And I'm like, my parents are from Gambia, but I was born and raised in America, right? So it was just frustrating. It was a lot of frustration surrounded by growing up African and being so misunderstood by people who didn't really take out the time to really get to know you for who you were. So that's a little bit about my background. I can go into detail, but we're trying to keep it short and cute, okay?
Okay, so for me, I am Ghanaian American. I was born in Ghana, and then I moved to America when I was 5. Lived in New York, and obviously as a 5-year-old, you know, coming into New York, I had a thick accent, and I didn't know until people were pointing it out. So I was in school, and I remember like kids making fun of me, calling me African booty scratcher. I was like, I don't scratch my butt. What is that?
What is it?
And it was people who looked like me calling me African booty scratcher. So for like literally all of my time in New York, like the moment people found out that I was African, that was what people called me. That's what I was associated as. And then I obviously started growing older, and then I also lost some of my accent. So that's how I guess in a way assimilated. So then when I moved to Georgia, when I was in my teens, at that point I was also in an all-black Hispanic neighborhood in New York. And then when I moved to Georgia, I was also in an all-black Hispanic Asian neighborhood. And then when we met. Yeah, so we met. So we met in middle school. And when I first met when I first met Mary, I knew she was African.
I don't like. Do I have a mark on my face that says African? Like, I just don't understand.
Like, there was just something. Like, there was just that like familiarity that like I just like knew right away. But I don't think you knew I was African.
No, the reason why I knew that you were African was because of our teacher in 7th grade. She was like, oh, like, you know, she's from Ghana. And you're from Gambia, so I want to pair you guys up. I'm like, what the heck?
Yeah.
So I was a little bit annoyed by that, because I'm like, just because we're African, you want to pair us up? Because before, I didn't really have like African friends, like a lot of African friends. I'm like, what is wrong?
And for me, I was like, thank God.
Yeah.
Because I was like, familiarity, you know, having someone who knew where I was from. Like, it was just familiarity.
I was very resistant to the friendship in the beginning. Because I was just like, why me? Like, why are you singling me out like that? And I didn't have like luck with friendships like before. So I didn't want to meet new people. Like, I was really standoffish. Like, I was just set with my, you know, close group of friends. And I was like, that's it. Like, I'm not trying to add on. Like, what you doing?
Right. So when I was talking to her, I was like, she kind of really sharp with it, very short with me. I was like, oh, that's weird. But I mean, now we're sisters. So this girl's my sister. Right? We've been friends for like 13 years.
Yeah, since 7th grade, and we're 25 now. Well, 24.
Yeah. Well, we're almost dead. Yeah. So I think it wasn't until middle school. So in middle school, we started having like international weeks, where now it was like, oh, everybody, you know, show your culture. Right. And both of us were part of. Was it an ASA? Was it an African something?
It was international.
Okay.
It wasn't really African. It was just international. Like, all groups were invited.
Okay. And so we like participated in like plays and dances. And then they also had like a week where you could do like food tasting. So that was when like she brought food. I brought jollof rice I brought jollof rice at the time. And that's when like now people started gravitating. They're like, oh, I didn't know you were African. I didn't know you were African. Because like a lot of people, when they meet me, they don't know I'm African until I speak, or they don't know I'm African until they see me associated with other people. That's interesting. Yeah, that's how like after the New York thing, and I got older, people, when they saw me, they didn't know I was African. When they heard me, they were like, oh, are you Caribbean? I always get Caribbean.
Okay.
I've gotten Caribbean, like I'm from the islands. Yeah. I've gotten Puerto Rican. I've gotten Brazilian in college. I was like, wait a minute.
I've always gotten African.
Yeah, I've never, like, African is the last thing I would get, like, as I got older. That was the last thing I would get, because until you talk to me, because I'm a great code switcher, so you would never know. The only time you will know is if like we're like talking and then someone comes in, they're like, oh, like,
because they're using that accent.
Right. Yeah. So no, like, as I got older, I think I was just, I don't know, I was just a good code switcher, so no one knew. And back to the international week, that was the first time that people were like, oh, like, you're African, like, oh, your food is good and this and that. And mind you, like, these were the same people that will tell you you're African booty scratcher, you're this and that. I've gotten,
oh, so you from Africa, y'all live in huts, y'all live amongst lions and tigers and bears and
in the jungle, all this. I was like, what do you think?
The stupidest thing that I heard in elementary school, they were talking about this one guy who was African, and I think he was actually from the same region as me. I think he was from Senegal. So then they were like, oh,
you were born naked.
Who isn't? Who isn't? You born with clothes on? Because I didn't know.
And I was like, no, I think I actually stood up for him in that moment. I was like, what do you mean? Like, everybody's born naked. Like, I was like looking at him like, that don't even make sense. I've had some very ignorant stuff, like
ignorance. I'm not even gonna go into that. Let me finish my story. So international week, you know, that's when people started, like, you know, tasting the food, and they're like, oh, you know, like, you cool now. Like, all of a sudden it was like we were cool because we're African. Nobody wanted to try our food.
Everybody that it was just people who are open-minded.
Yeah, that's true. And I think the more and more people saw us like embracing our culture, because like we had like days where you could dress out. Yes. So we had the full, you know, African African clothes, Ankara fabric. You already know.
Hello, this was my style back in middle school.
Hello.
This is nothing new.
So I think that's when like people started seeing like, oh wow, like I've had someone come up to me and be like, oh, you cultured.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, really?
So you were doing it for the culture before it was a cool thing.
Hello.
Yeah.
And so after like high school, then, and I also ended up switching over to an all-white high school. City, all white to the white. And I was the only black person in a lot of my classes, so it was a huge culture shock for me. So now it wasn't even necessary that I was African, but now I was the only person of color. I was the only black person in all my classes, so then kind of like struggling with that identity. And then also we had like days where you can like dress out too, so I ended up becoming president of the multicultural club because I felt like they need a culture. I'm sorry. Yes. They need a culture at my school. And so I ended up taking on becoming president of Multicultural Club. Then I would like cook certain things, jollof rice, plantains, you know, bring it. And then we also had like days where you can like dress up. I dressed up as an African queen because you already know when I raised. So I dressed my whole fabric, everything. And it's so weird because when I put on that outfit, I felt so strange. But when I started walking down the halls and people were looking for that. Hey, Siri, did somebody call you? I was walking down the hall, strutting in my Ankara fabric, and I was wearing kaba and slits. You Ghanaians, you know what kaba and slits is? It's like basically like a top and then a very long skirt with the slit. And it's very like, it's very like form-fitting. So that's what I was wearing at that time. And like all eyes, I'm talking about all eyes. Oh, teachers would even stop me.
Oh, where did you get this from? This is so nice. This is so nice.
And for a lot of people, they didn't know I was African too. They didn't know I was African at that point until I wore that.
That makes sense.
So everybody just thought I was a regular black girl. There's nothing wrong with that. But once again, like until I wore those things or until I was part of Multicultural Club, no one knew my African identity because that's just not what they associated me as. They just saw me as black and that was it. So then when I got to college, when I got to college, found out there was an African Student Association, and obviously you already know I joined because familiarity, you know, comfort, found my niche. And then now it was like, for me, I've always been someone that struggled with my identity. I've always been, because I was always too, literally growing up, I was always too like, how do I say, too proper to be black, but then not African enough. Especially when I go to Ghana, I'm not African enough. Like people in Ghana, the moment I step in, they assume I'm a foreigner. Mind you, I speak the language.
When you say like proper, what were you getting like, oh, you talk like a white girl type of thing?
Yes, I've gotten you talk like a white girl. I've gotten
that's so
like
stupid.
You don't look
that's
African.
So stupid to me.
I've gotten you don't look African. Like, and I'm like, and like she said, like for her, she's branded as African, and it's like, am I supposed to look a certain way? Like, but for me, when I'm like, this is my identity, people are like, oh no, you're not, because apparently African is supposed to look a certain way. And I don't look like that, so I'm not.
What is African? Dark skin, like deep dark skin, is that African? Because I feel like that's the only thing you like. As soon as you see my skin, you just assume Africa. Like, it's crazy. But we have so many different skins.
We have so. Yeah, sorry, technical difficulties. Okay, so we're back. You'll find the lightest of the light in Africa, and you'll find the darkest of the dark in Africa, and that's, I mean, we're the root of all people. Come on.
Hello. All people.
Hello.
All. Can say all again. No matter how many like generations, years back, you know what I'm saying? It's all people. Like Africa is the motherland.
Yes. That's why we're here, to represent different shades of melanin. To you, because
always
we are different people. We look different, and that's the beauty of Africa.
And that's the beauty of it.
So stop thinking that Africa people look one way. Thank you.
And please stop calling Africa a country.
Hello, can we?
Like,
take a moment of silence for all the idiots out there. I'm not even going to say ignorance. I'm going to say idiot. Because I never knew continents became country overnight. I'm confused. The only place in the world you can call continent and country is Australia. Come on. If you're not Australia, You don't qualify.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have over
Yes.
50 countries. Over
Thank
50.
you.
I think 54
Thank
to be
you.
exact.
Thank you.
Countries in Africa.
And you dare call it a country?
A country.
One country.
All of Africa.
One. One Africa.
I mean, maybe before colonization. Yes, maybe. But that's another topic for another time.
Don't get us started.
LOL.
So yeah. Yeah, and then college. College, like I was saying, like I felt like I didn't fit in because I joined the African Student Association where like that was where like I had my family, but then I also joined the Black Student Association or the Black Student Union, but I felt like I was always I wasn't Black enough. And there were times I felt like I wasn't African enough because, you know, in ASA, let me even just, it was straight up Nigerian Student Association. Like 99% of ASA were Nigerian.
And that's funny coming from you because I feel like there's also a pretty large population of Ghanaians, right?
In the Atlanta area, but not at Emory.
Right.
At all.
But you know how like, in African settings, you usually see Nigeria, Ghana.
Yeah,
that's it.
That's
you know what
true.
I'm saying?
That's
so it's
true.
funny that you say that because that's I mean it just shows you how like prominent like the Nigerian community
because
is
honestly,
everywhere.
You were the first Gambian I had ever met in my life.
Yeah, I usually am the first Gambian that most people meet.
Yeah.
Apart from other Gambians.
Yeah.
Literally, like, most people when they see me, they're like, oh, like, I've never heard of Gambia, or like, where's Gambia?
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Because I've met, like, growing up, I've met Senegalese, I've met Guineans, and so you were the first Gambian I had ever met.
Yeah.
I didn't even know Gambia was literally in Senegal. I had no idea.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah.
So yeah, Nigerian Student Association. Anyway. And so yeah, I think like finding my identity, like what was supposed to be, like what was African to me. So I found myself like struggling with that sometimes, like struggling to fit in. And you know, like Ghanaians, like at least for me, like Ghanaians were not there. Like a lot of Ghanaians were not there. So it was always me in a sea of Nigerians. So even now when Ghanaians meet me and I speak Pidgin, oh, your Pidgin is very Nigerian. But then it's like, it's not my fault because I didn't grow up around Ghanaians. Like my family is Ghanaian, but like my mom doesn't really speak Pidgin, right? And so, and even at North Clayton, the Africans didn't really, I mean, they will, but like it will be like tree and slang. Yeah. So it wouldn't necessarily be like Pidgin, right? Because literally the most we get is
huge community. We didn't even have a huge community of Africans. Like in high school.
So it was Nigerian Pidgin. You know, it was Nigerian Pidgin. Picked up on it.
That's funny because I feel like the Gambian accent to me growing up was so unique, like very unique to the point where it was very hard to imitate, at least for me. And like I'm the type of person who I like accents. I embrace them and I love like just different accents. But I feel like the African accent that I learned was also very Nigerian because of like Nigerian movies and sometimes Ghanaian movies. Yes. But yeah, it's interesting. Until today I can't really imitate a Gambian accent. Like it's very hard for me to.
Challenge you the Chris. But then Ghanaians say certain things differently where like there's just certain things that we say that Nigerians don't say, and there's certain things that Nigerians say that like both of us say. So it's hard. It's hard. So yeah, I struggled with that too. And then now I feel like I'm going off topic. Back to us being African in college, right? So now we're in college. 2016 was when Wakanda?
No,
2017.
2018.
18.
Yeah, like 2 years ago, I think.
Okay, well let me just say 2016 because 2016 was when I started seeing Rise of Dashikis on campus, right? 2015, 2016 was when I started seeing Dashikis on campus. And when Dashikis first came on campus, I remember like I was like excited about it because I was like, oh, I've seen this print before, but like I didn't know what it was, right? And people were telling me, oh, it's dashiki. Fam, the fabric that you call dashiki is actually called Angelina. Hello. Right? So once I started like asking questions, because I was asking my mom, like I was like, oh, like what is this
looks
fabric?
familiar,
This looks
like,
familiar. She's like, oh, that's Angelina.
And then
so I was like, why are people calling it dashiki? So,
but it's the style that they made it into.
Oh, that's the dashiki.
Yeah, the shirt itself.
Okay.
But then people just started saying dashiki print, but it's not dashiki print. Right?
Okay, I see.
So it was just the style of shirt.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. So yeah, and I think the reason why I even had an issue with dashiki was because people, mind you, not that these people directly called me African booty scratcher, but it was like African Americans in general were calling us African booty scratchers. Were asking us if we lived in trees. Were asking us if we lived in huts. Were asking us if we even bathe. You know, everything.
Yeah.
So when you start wearing dashiki and you start claiming something as yours, and you start going around and you don't even know the meaning behind it, you're just wearing it because it looks cool, we have a problem. Africans have a problem because it was like, now all of a sudden our stuff is cool to y'all, but it was never cool to you before.
Yeah, and it's like, why is it okay for people to deem something that's already existed appropriate? Like for them, you know, just because it's cool, just because it's a trend, just because celebrities are now wearing it, now you feel like, oh, I can wear it too, oh, I could do this too. But before, it's already existed. It's already existed. We've already been here. We've been around forever. And it just seemed like, boom, like it's cool now, so I'm gonna hop on it.
And then y'all also be out here screaming, so and so culturally appropriated this. You did the same thing, sis. You did the same thing, bro. bro.
That's very interesting.
You did the same thing.
You know, so the thing with like black people in general, not just black Americans, but I think it's safer for us to do certain things that black people in Africa do. You understand? Because it's like, that's a direct piece of their culture, our culture. It ties in. Even though we could say that all of mankind, you know what I'm saying, could do it, but at the end of the day, it's a little bit more touchy, you know, with black Americans, with black Europeans, black, you know, wherever you're from. I feel like a lot of times we speak from a place of hurt because of how bad we were bullied. Like, we were really bullied bad, and like, you know, these are just 2 cases out of many. You understand what I'm saying? Like, a lot of African Americans are like African, like, you know what I mean, African American, not like black Americans, really faced a lot of what's it called, discrimination against your own people, against people of the same skin color as you. And it's just like, yo, like, what's going on? You know what I'm saying? We should be unified. We should be together. Like, you are my black brother, you are my black sister. Why is it so hard for you to appreciate that I'm of a different culture, that I have a culture? You know what I'm saying? Even though I feel like there is a black culture within America, I definitely do feel that way. And like I said, I grew up in a black community all my life. I have one of my best friends is black American, so I've seen the potential for like black Americans to really connect to their roots. But it's not a lot of black Americans in our case, because we live in America, but there's black people all over the place. You understand what I'm saying? And it's black people all over the place that experience that same sort of hurt. But with black Americans in particular, it sucks because it's like you want to be one, but then there's a division because you're not like accepting the differences that you all have, that you all may have. And the crazy thing is, it's not even just black Americans. I feel like even in the African community, oh, you're from a different country. You know what I'm saying? Oh, Nigeria, Ghana, oh, Gambia, Senegal, oh, you get Guinea, Mali. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, yo, at the end of the day, we're all African. At the end of the day, we're all black. White people, they're not going to care. You know, if you're walking around and you say, oh, I'm Gambian, you're black. You're black. And I think that black Americans actually, because there was a point in time where I was confused about the whole term black, because people will call me black, but then they say, no, you're African. You know what I'm saying? Like, black in terms of my skin color, like, oh, you're black, you're too dark and stuff like that. But then they'll say, no, you're African. So it's almost as if they uncategorize me from the black community.
It's like you're different.
Yeah,
you're different.
Exactly.
It's almost like we're fortunate to know we're fortunate to know where we come from. We know our direct lineage. We know who we come from. We know where we come from, right? So in a way, we're removed.
Yeah,
you know, and also like, as the same way Black people are so quick to like separate that, a lot of Africans are so quick to separate themselves. Because I find that like, I've had a lot of people correct me because there's sometimes where I use Black American and African American interchangeably. I use that all the time in academia, in conversation, anything, right? But there's a difference where like I've had people tell me, no, African American is you. You're African American. You're African. You're American. But then they're also there's just so many definitions as to what African American is, because a lot of people also say African Americans were African slaves who became African. I mean American. So it's just like there's just so many ways of categorizing people where at the end of the day, to a white person, none of that matters. None of that matters. So this
really
division,
to any other person of like, you know, that's not Black. That's not Black. Like anybody that's not Black, they see a Black person, they're not gonna care if you're Caribbean, you're African, if you were Black African and from Europe, or if you're a Black African from America, or you know, however it could be, because it's so diverse, you know, and nobody's gonna care about that. They're gonna see your skin. You not white, you not Asian, you not Hispanic, you Black. And it's crazy because you can have Black Asians, you can have Black Hispanics, you can have, you know, these Black communities within other communities, but it's just like once they see the color of your skin, be Black.
You Black. You're Black. I could be Brazilian. I'm Black. Hello.
So yeah,
you know,
it's very interesting. And I feel like nowadays, at least, we're having more conversations about it and like being open and honest about like what we've experienced, and so that people can kind of start thinking for themselves like, yo, maybe I went about this wrong, or maybe I could go about this in another way, or just kind of thinking outside of themselves. You know,
for sure. And I've had situations where I've spoken to my girlfriends, my colleagues, and I've had one person ask me such a really deep question that I had to really think about. They were always asking me, so what is the beef between African Americans and Africans? If you want to hear more about what we have to say next, hop on to Janga Jain's channel. Jangha Jain's channel. For more. See, make sure you continue your drink, or stock up, drink water, drink wine, drink whatever, and keep watching. Thank you. Period.
Yes, make sure you like, comment, subscribe.
Yes, like, comment, subscribe.
To Nana's channel. She's about to be bringing some content.
I'm coming for you.
Some hot content.
I'm coming for you. 2020 was rocky, but we'll finish hard. Finish hard. I'm coming back. coming back.
Yeah, and let us know how you felt about growing up African, and if you experienced any like similar experiences. And this is not intended to hurt anybody's feelings or to offend anyone. At the end of the day, we really just want to start a really raw and honest type of dialogue. So please let us know, you know, some of your experience in the comment sections. If I offended anybody, I apologize. That wasn't my intention.
Same.
So you know, we just want to have a very healthy and honest conversation. So be respectful in the comment sections, and let's talk,
because we will block you. And feel free to comment below. Okay? All right. Thank you. Bye.
R2P, yeah.